President Paul Biya makes yet a special donation of gifts worth 2 billion CFA francs to all the 360 subdivisions in the country. A donation that comes as a standalone and which is not in any way connected with the special solidarity fund created on the sidelines of the COVID pandemic. As the COVID-19 pandemic cripples the economy, the hotel sector in Cameroon stands as one of the worst hit sectors, with the lodging and with the hotel operators all standing on the precipice of an imminent collapse. The northwest and southwest regions on the path of reconstruction, as the PATYCHOU committee charged with that responsibility meets in its very first session in Yaoundé to earmark projects and sectors that will receive priority attention. Those are the lead stories of this edition. Hello, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the program. I am Ben Meno Pufong. We open this edition with this press release from the Ministry of Territorial Administration, and it reads, the Minister of Territorial Administration is pleased to inform the national and international community that within the framework of the reinforcing measures aimed at containing the spread of the COVID-19 among the population of Cameroon, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, has decided to offer a special gift to the 360 subdivisions of the country. This special gift should not be mistaken for actions of the special solidarity fund created by the head of state on the sidelines of this pandemic. The special gift of the head of state comprises hygienic products and medical kits evaluated to the tune of some CFA 2 billion CFA francs. And they are as follows: 50,000 cartons of laundry soap, for 1,500,000 face masks for population, 50,000 surgical masks for health personnel, 75,000 buckets for household use, 40,000 liters, 30-liter hand washing cans, rapid screening test kits, respiratory devices for hospitals. In about 10 days, the hygienic products and medical kits, special gifts from the head of state to the Cameroonian people, will be transported from the Yaoundé City Council by 100 heavy-duty trucks to the 10 regions of the country. They will be received in the regional headquarters by the governors. The head of state, His Excellency Paul Biya, insists on local distribution so that the assistance reaches the main beneficiaries, especially the vulnerable population, wherever they are found within the national territory. The teams of the Department of Civil Protection of the Ministry of Territorial Administration will be dispatched to the 10 regions to assist the administrative authorities in this awareness campaign and the distribution of the special gift from the head of state. And that press release has been signed by Paul Tanganji, the Minister for Territorial Administration. Let's now join Unity Palace Chief Correspondent Ashu Niente with a reading into this other gesture that is coming from the President of the Republic, whom he says is always at the beck and call of Cameroonian each time the need arises.
After observing the evolution of COVID-19 in Cameroon in the last 1 month, President Paul Biya has come to the understanding that taking the barrier measures to the local level can better prevent the expansion of the pandemic. He has therefore readjusted his strategy, and no one needed to tell him that. It is for this reason, according to a communique published by the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Tanganji, President Paul Biya has decided to offer a special gift to the 360 subdivisions of the country. The special gift comprises of hygienic kits worth 2 billion francs CFA, made of 50,000 cartons of laundry soap, 1.5 million face masks for the population, 50,000 surgical masks for hospital personnel, 75,000 buckets for household use, 40,000 30-liter hand-washing cans, rapid screening test kits, and respiratory devices for hospitals. According to Minister Tanganji, this special gift is made to 4 million families of average 5 persons, making a total of 20 million Cameroonians, a veritable relief to the people, many of whom could not afford these items. This gift is separate from the special solidarity funds created by the head of state. This other action only reinforces his legendary hospitality and portrays him as a committed leader, close to his people and making their well-being his major preoccupation, away from the politics of spectacle of those drawing political dividends out of a bad situation. This humanitarian gesture adds up to others in the past in favor of other Cameroonians, victims of the Lake Nyos gas and Samta, flood victims in the far north and west regions, support for victims of the war against Boko Haram and the internally displaced from the northwest and southwest regions. In the days ahead, the Minister of Territorial Administration and his administrative authorities will be on the ground to distribute these items and intensify the campaign against COVID-19. President Paul Biya has, in this and other measures taken against COVID-19, shown that he deserves the confidence of the people who massively voted for him in October 2018.
And the coronavirus pandemic has reached the peak in Cameroon with well over 800 cases detected already. The government has constantly been revising and updating its strategy and plan to face up squarely to the pandemic. The most recent measure to step up its response have been the conversion of some stadia and supermarkets as abodes to quarantine patients. The government yesterday, for instance, received a consignment of 100 respirators for serious cases and 3,000 test kits, which will help meet some challenges in facing up to the crisis. The government's response is also being decentralized, as you now tell us, Beatrice Losamba.
The week starts with hopes that the Yaoundé Military Stadium, with its 500 beds, would finally open to attend to patients in need of quarantining. Monday, the contractors who say they have completed work are packing out of the place to make room for medical workers, which reports say will move in anytime soon. Over the weekend, 300,000 COVID tests were flown in at the request of the government to meet shortage in testing centers. 100 respirators ordered were received, and hospital sources say are being dispatched to the centers that are dedicated to serious COVID-19 cases in Yaoundé and Douala.
Respirators and ventilators are crucial in this pandemic because the illness deeply affects the lungs.
Monday, the Minister of Public Health and his counterpart of the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development sat down with key actors in councils and decentralized units to agree on how to make available financial means in preventing the disease from inside out for more effective results.
We are not going to be efficient if you are taking decisions here in Yaoundé. We should make sure that decisions taken in Yaoundé are implemented on the field. I also want to make sure that at the end of the day, our population is fully educated to know what is useful to do to prevent this illness going all around our country.
Thanks to concerted efforts, more quarantine centers will be acquired. Means will be provided to local councils to disinfect public places, and the government says it hopes to make its response to the disease better each day.
From social distancing measures, basic hygiene tips, drinking of local concoctions, and the limitation of movements in and out of towns of residence, Cameroonians have adjusted their way of life in a bid to curb the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our reporter Gilbert Ongene talked to some Yaoundé residents on the new habits they have now adopted to bar the way to the coronavirus and put together their report in this story.
The outbreak of the coronavirus has invariably changed the daily habits of Cameroonians.
My way of cleanliness has just affected itself. Like I said, I don't forget washing my hands whenever I'm going to somewhere or I'm entering into a public place.
Putting of the mask, washing of the hands, and 1 meter away from each other.
Social distancing measures have imposed different ways of greeting.
I have kids and I don't allow them to embrace me. Now they know that when I'm coming back from a distance, I've taught them a new habit. We just make like...
And I don't longer greet friends like we used to do before. We don't longer hug friends when we meet them.
While some people strongly hold to the belief that traditional concoctions could save them from COVID-19, others are skeptical about the medicinal properties of such drinks.
The drinking of fever grass every evening, yes, every evening it has become a habit.
We warm water, we drop small sugar, we drink. Sometimes we hot tea, we put soya beans, then we drink. They are drinking for protection against coronavirus.
Up to now, you can bear with me, I haven't taken anything of that such because I don't believe much in those things.
Most Yaoundé residents have restricted their movements in the face of the coronavirus threat.
It has limited my movements a lot. I stay a lot at home. I don't visit unnecessarily. I visit only when it is very, very important. It has also changed my spiritual life a lot. I have become closer to my God than ever before.
I have not tried to move out first because of the fear. Since the corona outbreak, I got fear, so maybe I would have traveled to Douala.
Although it is an unprecedented health crisis, the COVID-19 has imposed some good habits on Cameroonians, which, if maintained even after the pandemic, could make them live better and healthier lives.
Senate President Marcel Njifenji has officially handed over a check of 100 million CFA francs to the Cameroon government as a contribution of the Senate to the Solidarity Fund created by the head of state to combat the spread of the coronavirus in Cameroon. The check was handed over to the Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malachi, during a solemn ceremony in Yaoundé today. Senate correspondent Charles Anyangwe reports.
It was at the residence of Senate President that the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manauda Malachi, came calling to officially receive this check of 100 million francs CFA as the contribution of the Senate to the Solidarity Fund created by the head of state for the fight against COVID-19 in Cameroon. During the handing over ceremony, Senate President Marcel Njifenji praised the head of state for creating the Solidarity Fund and congratulated the health teams and Cameroonians for respecting the measures prescribed by the government to stop the spread of the virus. He said the 100 million francs is the widow's mite of the entire Senate family, represented at the ceremony by bureau members and heads of the different committees. Public Health Minister, who has been very active on the field, lauded the wonderful gesture made by the Senate.
The substantial contribution of the Senate will enable us to get equipment, get compliancy, and even drugs for the patient of COVID-19.
Dr. Manauda Malachi made it clear that at the moment, over 1,000 persons have been infected by COVID-19 in Cameroon and 350 have already been healed. He said government will soon have the capability to treat between 60 to 70,000 patients, an indication that the government is doing all to put the pandemic at bay.
And as I was announcing in our lead stories, one of the sectors in Cameroon's economy greatly hit by the coronavirus is the tourism industry and its value chain. With the closure of borders and international flights, many hotels have witnessed a drastic drop in the number of persons seeking hotel services. Because of the COVID-19, turnover has been greatly affected, with some hotels actually closing their doors as they are fast running out of business. Constantine Baum has been observing the situation and says it will require quite some time for the hotel business to flourish again in Cameroon.
Monfebe Hotel is one of the biggest in Yaoundé. The hotel finds itself in a difficult situation today because of COVID-19. This hall of the hotel was usually occupied before the pandemic, but it is empty. Same with the conference rooms. Seminars, workshops, and conferences have been cancelled, which usually provide a lot of revenue to the hotel. The receptionist has much time for himself as he has no clients to attend to, an unusual situation for Monfebe.
The impact is so huge. The hotel have lost almost 90% of its business. To try to adjust ourselves, we have to take internal measures, such as sending some people on leaves. The leaves have been paid.
Hilton's 30 years of hospitality is also challenged by COVID-19.
We've seen a drop in business in the last few weeks, obviously. We have closed 2 restaurants a few weeks ago, obviously, but one just reopened last weekend because of some demands.
Hilton Hotel might be surviving because of its international status, but not Hotel La Falaise, which has completely closed its doors. The last 2 clients left. All workers have been sent home, except for hotel guards who are keeping an eye on the hotel property. It is the same story with Hotel Boons. The doors are shut as they have no more clients. Some few hotels are still braving the odds, but if it persists, they might end up shutting their doors as well.
Now we don't have no activity. I try to manage only like their mother. Now it's only family. There are 200 people. What can I do?
COVID-19 is a heavy blow to the hospitality industry, as most of the hotels presently have no activities. The owners and management hope the government come to their aid.
And business in the seaside resort of Kribi in the South region, the businesses there are also witnessing a serious slowdown as the measures to control the spread of the COVID-19 take roots in that part of the country. Although only one COVID-19 case has been confirmed out there so far, restaurants, hotels, and other tourist business owners say they can hardly pull their hands together anymore. As Cyril Nwazeke reports, the natural sea breeze that has always been a center of attraction is now beckoning for visitors who are nowhere to be found.
Kribi, one of Cameroon's famous and finest in terms of touristic potential and futuristic site for visitors, is today feeling the wind of change brought in by the COVID-19 pandemic. For roughly a month now, the slow pace of activities in the tourism sector is undoubtedly attributed to this care. Hotels, restaurants and owners of touristic sites in the ocean seaside have virtually shut down.
We have 76 rooms, but all are empty. The restaurant is empty, and most of the personnel, 90% of the personnel has been sent home because of this virus, and really the income is not coming, but expenditures are still there.
This pandemic has almost crippled the sector, which injects a lot into the country's economy, but officials caution on the respect of measures set by government.
The tourism activities in Kribi have not been shut down. We believe that with the effective implementation of the measures put in place by the government to fight the coronavirus, things will soon come back to normal.
If a visitor or tourist can enjoy the natural sea breeze, then why will he lodge in a hotel, talk less of eating in a restaurant? The tourism sector in the ocean is hard hit. By respecting the distancing and other measures, scores of people can still be spotted around the shores during weekdays and weekends, as the sector hopes to regain full verve anytime soon.
Telecommunications operators and regulators have been sharing views and experiences in a sectoral video conferencing on the future of the sector, the demand for whose services has shot up in the country since the COVID-19 outbreak. Posts and Telecommunications Minister Minette Libom Lilinkeng, who was moderating the tele-video conferencing, invited all the key actors of the sector to cut down on the bandwidth cost and provide Cameroonians with cheaper yet good quality internet services. Yoti Kalili Songa explains how.
Digitally, they thrive, exploiting to the fullest the same services they are to ensure others enjoy. Operators and regulators in the telecommunications sector answer present to Minister Minette Libom Lilinkeng's call from their respective structures.
There's reduction of cost bandwidth. There is a facilitation of mobile money transfer in terms of cancelling certain costs and other aspects. All local content in Cameroon will stay in Cameroon. That also helps to reduce internet cost and makes internet runs faster.
Zoom is the platform being used, but the license acquired by the ministry comes with a peculiar client version, that is 4.6.10.
This works with a very, very high-level encrypted technology to ensure that the meetings are actually confidential. Only those who are in the meeting can be able to participate. What we actually have here is we can run 20 meetings concurrently with about 500 people per meeting. So what we do with that is other ministries are using our platform to connect.
And the Ministry of Secondary Education has come seeking their services.
Teaching in a classroom situation and teaching for online is different. So we're trying to let the teachers put their content so that it can be delivered online.
As the teachers are teaching right there, the students can follow the courses immediately. And they can ask questions to the teachers at the same time. The students who couldn't log in on time can still follow the courses by downloading the course from the MINSEC website and from other social media websites.
So goes the shift from the physical to the virtual classroom, where every lesson tells a story behind the scenes.
Let's now take you over to the National Emergency Operations Center, which is pitched up there at the Ministry of Public Health and which has been following the recent developments, most recent of them, of course, on the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic in the country. And our reporter out there is Raihanatu Sali, who should be joining us now. Raihanatu, tell us, what is the latest from the center today? How many calls have come in? And any new developments? Hello?
Good evening, Ben Meno. Welcome to the Public Health Emergency Operations Center. The good news from this end is that 329 recoveries have been recorded in Cameroon as of now. Well, as of now, because these figures might increase in the hours ahead. Tonight, our focus will be on COVID-19 treatment. And with me to throw more light on this is Dr. Eric Tanzi, a public health expert in the Ministry of Public Health. Good evening, Doctor.
Yeah, good evening, Saline.
We know that COVID-19 treatment is free of charge. A government pays all the bills. But can we have an idea how much does it cost the government to treat a single COVID-19 patient?
Yeah, thank you, Sally. I'm very happy you made a point very clear that COVID-19 from diagnosis right up to treatment is free of charge. What we have to know here is that this depends, the cost depends on individual condition, you know. There are some persons that will go under ventilators, but some will simply observe normal treatment. So we cannot say per se the cost or the exact cost of treatment that it will cost the state. But what is important here to note is that the treatment is free of charge.
Approximately, can you give us maybe an idea for a severe case?
It's very difficult to tell you, I must insist here, because this would depend on the number of days that you have to do in a hospital setting, and especially if you are under respirator, and perhaps there might be other health conditions that are associated to it.
Now, is this the reality in the hospitals? Is this being practiced in the different COVID-19 centers?
Yeah, it is important. I know there is a mixed feeling that maybe the cost is not free because of some malpractices that have been recorded within the recent days. But just like the minister has put in his communique of 16th of April, calling on the attention of all health facilities that are handling this treatment, that they should know that it is free of charge. And even the patients that are involved should also understand that they don't have to pay any token as far as the treatment is concerned. So the general population should know this, that the treatment is free of charge. And that is what is being practiced in most of the treatment centers.
Now, when these patients do leave hospital, how is follow-up being done? And is follow-up free as well?
Yeah, thank you. It should be noted here that before you are being declared free of COVID, it means that there has been a controlled test that has been done on you. And once you leave the hospital, it doesn't end there. You are advised to follow all the government measures that have been put in place and other measures in order to protect the people around you and even yourself. That is why you and I are putting on a face mask. Just assume that we've been patient, and even when we came out or come out from hospital, we still have to continue respecting these measures.
No, thank you very much, Dr. Tandy. It's always a pleasure having you around.
Thank you very much, Sandy.
Well, Ben Meno, as you know, following the joint decision by the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development and the Ministry of Public Health this evening, councils will henceforth be involved in the fight against the COVID-19. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Rayonatu Sali, with your specialist out there. And the good news we're having there is that Cameroonians should not fear any cost, and that the treatment for COVID-19 is free of charge in all of our centers across the National Center. Thank you for those updates, and we hope to be having you again in our subsequent news edition with details. And the population of Douala has benefited from anti-coronavirus kits and food items from football icon Samuel Etofe's in a campaign dubbed Stop COVID-19. Samuel Etofe's contribution falls within a campaign to stop the spread of the coronavirus in the country, and which the several times Ballon d'Or winner started last Friday in the nation's economic capital. We have details with one of our correspondents from CRTV Littoral.
Samuel Etofe's giving back to Cameroon, and the timing wouldn't have been any better than this period when his compatriots are battling with a strange enemy, the coronavirus.
It's not about the biggest action, but every small action, every step is important to fight against the coronavirus.
New Bell, the neighborhood of his birth, is where the kickoff of Eto's campaign caravan was given. Through his foundation and accompanied by different partners, Eto's generosity touched the lives of these families with 120 packs of sanitary kits and food items to each of the 30 blocks that make up this neighborhood with a population of over 51,000 persons. The caravan then moved over to next door New Bell Makea for a similar exercise. Represented by their quarter heads, the 13 quarters with a population of over 25,000 people were also given food items comprising rice, oil, salt, as well as sanitary kits. Neighborhoods like Deido, Bonaberry, Bois de Senche, Makepe, Mbanga Pongo, Tegal and Bepanda will also benefit from the largesse of the football legend. From Douala, the caravan will move over to Boya, Bafoussam and then Yaoundé for a similar exercise.
Administrative authorities in the Northwest region have identified and are preparing quarantine centers for any eventual COVID-19 patient in the region. Governor Lele Lafrique has expressed satisfaction after visiting COVID-19 test centers and duly inspecting already installed kits and equipment in some of those centers. Details with Winston Lemga.
As from next week, it will be possible to carry out COVID-19 tests effectively in Bamenda instead of sending samples to Yaoundé as obtains now. So says the Northwest Governor as he chaired this evaluation meeting. For now, the region is free, but Lele Lafrique insists, do not drop your guard.
We have sent more than 22 cases to be tested at the level of the Centre Pasteur Yaoundé. Some results came that were negative, and we are waiting today the last set of results.
Quarantine sites have been set in anticipation of a COVID-19 outbreak. This one in Mailtrinquen, requisitioned by the Army, has a 300-bed capacity. And this site, at New Road Station, is a low-cost housing project where officials say 48 families can be quarantined.
People of Mbonge in the Meme division of the Southwest region, they have no coronavirus cases yet, but they now know how to keep the virus at bay in the event of any outbreak. The mayor of the municipality, Chief Daniel Mata Makambe, like his peer of Wabane, has been running a series of sensitization campaigns on the useful tips and a healthy behavior that impede the spread of the virus. Giro Jenana has that joint report from CRTV Southwest.
A sensitization campaign to update inhabitants of Mbonge with skills on how to bar the way to the coronavirus has been organized by the mayor of the locality, accompanied by the divisional officer for Mbonge, Otto Williams II.
We have donated some buckets, sanitizers, and soaps, and wash hand basins, so that the common population should be able to have the proper hygienic condition.
The major fear highlighted by the local authorities of Wabane is the proximity between the locality and the West region, which already has victims of the coronavirus. The local population has been called upon to strictly respect government measures in order to stop the virus from getting into Wabane.
Knowing that the West region is one of the regions affected, that is why we work out a plan with the district medical service, TMO, to see how we can come up with these detergents, sanitizers.
It is hoped that measures taken here will be enough to stop the global pandemic from reaching the locality.
And the National Gendarmerie has launched a zero offensive against the road users who disrespect government measures against COVID-19. From overloading to the disrespect of highway code, the heavy hand of the law is now looming very low over every potential defaulter. Killian Dandifon was with the task force on the Yaoundé-Bertoua highway over the weekend and came back with the following story.
The mobilization of gendarmes, material and dynamism of the elements and their supervisors tell of forces against a common enemy, COVID-19, on the Yaoundé-Bertoua National Road number 10. No road user chooses whether or not to respect the measures against the pandemic.
We can't tolerate. It concerns lives, human lives. We don't joke with human lives. And it is not your life, it is not my life, it is all of us concerned. Because one person that is concerned in the community is the whole community that is affected.
It is a road safety campaign with emphasis on fighting COVID-19, but also on checking criminal acts and highway code offenses.
Our elements also control the state of the vehicles that are plying the route. They also control the documents that the drivers need to have on them before they ply the route. They also control the psychological state of the drivers. We make sure that they are not dropped.
Any criminal act, disrespect for the highway code or government measures against COVID-19, you will face the National Gendarmerie and the law.
Let's talk about other issues now. Thousands of jobs lost, more infrastructure projects destroyed, and most businesses closed down. And that is the sorry situation of the economic reality of the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon, that is the Northwest and the Southwest region, that have been plagued over the past 3 years by an ongoing socio-political unrest that is just about now showing signs of abating. Already, Cameroon's employers group have been estimating hundreds of billions of CFA francs as loss in revenue for companies that have investments in those parts of the country. Our economy, an economy that rather which is in urgent need of rebuilding, as you now tell us, Clarice Aretaka.
More than 800 billion CFA francs lost by companies in the Northwest and Southwest regions due to the social-political crisis in the past 3 years. Rising unemployment figures in both parts, evidenced and chronicled by Cameroon's employers group, brought the stark reality to light. The economy in the Northwest and Southwest regions was in shambles. An infrastructural nightmare is how many describe the networks that have managed to survive a relentless destruction of property, looting, and theft. The transport, energy, telecommunications, water, health, and education sectors, to name but these, were brought almost to a standstill, resulting from damage caused to equipment or machinery made obsolete due to the lack of use. Keeping people and goods safe brought about additional and unforeseen costs for businesses, many of which eventually ended up folding or putting their activities on hold. Meanwhile, the local economy in the Northwest and Southwest regions was hard hit by the suspension of many investment projects funded with public funds. With growth and development stalling, thousands of livelihoods have been put in jeopardy. Industry has not been spared. Tourism has witnessed a downturn, while a slow in manufacturing and distribution services has brought many small and medium-sized enterprises to their knees, in sharp contrast with pre-2016 years. Major employers, while not entirely shutting down production, have been forced to operate on unprecedented lows. The spillover effect on the national economy is estimated at billions of CFA francs in revenue losses. Rebuilding the local economy of both the Northwest and Southwest regions is no mean feat by various standards, economists agree. The path of recovery they maintain should include a well-designed roadmap which will identify the most urgent works to embark on without delay and the mid- and long-term projects to tackle in order to put business back on track.
And that's Committee for the Recovery, Reconstruction and Development of the Northwest and Southwest regions met in Yaoundé today for their very first session. The deliberations were chaired by the the head of the committee, Paul Tassong, and it was attended, amongst others, by officials from the United Nations as well as from some other partnered ministries, together with whom they reviewed the state of the infrastructural degradation in the country, as well as making an assessment of the economic situation. Luma Slim Davis sat through that meeting and reports on a project that he says will swallow a staggering 98 billion CFA francs once it runs to finish. Luma?
After about 4 years of crisis in the Northwest and Southwest regions that has claimed many lives and destroyed property, the need for recovery, reconstruction and development is imminent.
We've come up with 3 core areas for the activities of reconstruction and development in the 3 regions, namely re-establishment of social cohesion, re-establishment of the local economy, and the rehabilitation or reconstruction of collective infrastructure. All the 3 of them are of equal importance. We shall lay emphasis on one key thing, which is where can we work? The moment we are sure that we can work, that the security conditions in any locality make it possible for us to come out and work, that's where our priority goes.
With the first meeting of the committee charged with the responsibility of executing the development plan, the groundwork is set for action.
We looked over what are the strategic axes of intervention, and we looked at how to deliver this program, because we want to make sure that the program has some quick results and that the populations in the Northwest, Southwest that have gone through so much really see concretely how this plan will support them. And so we talked about the importance of prioritizing, the importance of flexibility, and making sure that this program will also help bring peace dividends.
Out of a global sum of 89 billion CFA francs to see the project through, 8.9 billion CFA francs is available for commencement.
The 7:30 news on the Cameroon Radio Television. That's the way it works. Thanks for watching.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.